We are live. Welcome everyone to the final presentations of the Stream2 of the EnergySingularity track. The time has come for us to hear the final presentations of the Stream2 teams, on which they have been working very hard for the past few days. So before we start, I'll just run to a few technicalities for this session. We have 2 hours reserved for these presentations. Each team has approximately 25 minutes to present, and that will be followed by a very short Q&A of about 5 minutes. And also the session will be recorded. So I just want to say before we start that we were extremely lucky to have a great network of Jedis and a mayor of the track of Stream2 who were supporting the teams over the weekend. So big thank you to them. And also we are super lucky to have a great panel of judges. So now I would like to ask our CEO, Anna, who you all know very well, to shortly introduce the judges for the Stream2.
Thank you, Natalia, and hello to everyone from this sunny day in Berlin. PV is working strong today. I also wish to join Natalia in thanking everyone for being so active this entire weekend. We just completed the Stream 1 presentations, and the Stream 1 is also now very curious to see what Stream 2 has been doing this weekend. We have 3 very cool teams, but we also have fantastic jury members, and really from different stakeholder aspects judging the final presentations. So I will start by introducing our own Willy Berendsen, who is a pioneer in energy communities, an ambassador for energy communities from Groenemint community in the Netherlands, in The Hague, with whom we have been working as Grid Singularity for a few years now, demonstrating the positive impact of local electricity trading. Willy, would you like to say a few words about what you expect as a jury member from the team presentations, what you would like them to focus on in their presentations today?
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Willy Berendsen. Anna introduced ourselves. We have some experience with a former Dutch developer, Dirk van der Bichelaar, who was working with our data, and we have already a simulation of our data. And the data now is real-time available, and in a few months also for Grid Singularity. Our real-time data from 30 energy neutral buildings. And I wonder, and that is my specialty, the user interface for the inhabitants, for the households. We have already a smart community platform, but it should be user-friendly and has some good information which inhabitants, households can make the decision how to manage their assets. User interfacing, that's my major aspect.
Thank you very much. I will move on to our Katharina Habersbrunner, representing 2 organizations. One is an organization that gathers different energy communities in Germany and advocating for this idea of more optimal local trading that is really citizen focused, and also an organization that promotes women in this field, and happy that we really have an engaged level of diversity from different aspects, age, gender, nationalities in this hackathon. It's really wonderful to witness. We have worked with Katerina for also a long while now, and we just produced a simulation study on the using the data set from a community close to Munich in Schonau, and showing not only that community can benefit from local electricity market, but that if they trade with the community next door of a similar size, but not so smart, quote unquote, so with less resources, that they and the community next door can also benefit, which was a very important finding. So Katerina, thank you for being with us today. Please do say a few words now about how you see, what is your wish list as a jury member?
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I'm really happy to be here, and so it's amazing. So I joined a bit the hackathon, and it's very interesting. So since we are striving as Bündnis Bürgerenergie really for a decentralized energy transition, we see only that's the one way so that the citizen can produce, consume, and so I see my expectation is that prosumer approaches are feasible, and so that is possible for everybody to participate in the energy transition and to have a strong participation. And so I hope to see interesting interfaces and appliances.
So engagement with the citizen. Okay, thank you, Katerina. Next to Michael Hubner from the Austrian government, who works at this intersection of research and policy. Michael, what do you expect from our teams today?
Yes, hello everyone. I hope you can hear me. It was very exciting to watch the teams over the last days. I didn't expect that it would be so exciting, and it really catched me a lot. So I was online most of the time. So hello to the teams, great spirit here. Also hello to my colleagues in the jury. Very nice to see Katarina here, who has only been a few days ago in the Austrian Technology Platform for Smart Grids presenting her initiative, and also nice to meet Willie, who I have known before. What I'm expecting, yes, it's a big task to transform this complex world of the energy markets and the energy world into something that is interesting, digestible, and appealing for, let's say normal people, or we normally call them the customer, but I would really say it's not so much that they are customers, but they are people. And this is really a complex task, and I've seen interesting approaches to this, and I'm really keen to learn how we can solve this task, to bring in the emotions in the energy world. A lot has been said about this also yesterday. And we are interested. I'm also working in a number of international and transnational networks, particularly in Europe, but also beyond. And we're also very keen to help collect all these experiences from different countries and different approaches, and to convey the learnings from this. So it's very exciting to be here.
Thank you, Michael. We're really building a social entrepreneurship here with impact first. And that is why I joined several years ago, now seems many, many decades ago. My wonderful partner, Ed Hesse, who is the fourth member of this jury. I don't think Ed needs a lot of presenting. He is the leader of our team and co-leading this challenge. Ed, if you have to try really, really hard now to step back, right, from all your different interests and all your emotional attachments to different ideas and different people in this group. If you really try hard to take this position of a jury member, what do you expect to see from the teams?
Yeah, thanks, Anna. The energy transition so far has been pushed by the industry, and now we are at the turning point where in the next 10 years we will see more investments behind the meter than before the meter. And I think the final push that we go to 100% renewables, and a resilient system has to come from the final consumers. And, and if you look at our relationship to energy right now, there is no relationship. So we have to create a relationship. Energy is something that is connecting us all the time. So what I want to see is I'm really interested to find, to see a solution that is going to create this pull from the people, from the final consumers for the next shift in the energy transition. That is kind of what I'm expecting to see here. Thanks a lot.
Wonderful. So time for the exciting move to the teams. I will let Natalia take over.
Great. Thanks a lot, Anna, and thanks a lot to the judges. I think after hearing all the presentations, it won't be such an easy job to decide who will win this challenge. However, I trust that you will be able to do so. So let's move on to the teams. Anna mentioned there will be 3 teams competing. I just want to know that there is also another team that took part in this Stream2, and that is the Grid Singularity team. However, it is very important to note that this is a non-competing team. Basically, they took part in order to give additional ideas to the community about how this topic can be further explored. So we'll hear from them at the end. And now we can start with the Dekergy team. Just a quick intro. They are a team consisted of 6 students and grads from EIT's Master's Studies in Energy Engineering. And they have started working together on a project beginning of this year that was actually bringing together distributed ledger technology, applying it to validating flexibility commitments of various DERs. But I'm excited to hear the final presentation. So Jorge, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. So I will jump in here. My name is Angelina, and I'm the Dekergy team captain. And today, Jorge, Oscar, and I will be presenting on behalf of our team. And so we are super excited to share with you what we have been working on. And so to begin, I will ask Oscar to share his screen.
Turn down the volume.
Oscar?
Okay, so I will share my screen now. Hopefully this will work. Okay. So can everyone see my screen now? Just to make sure.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, I'll start. First, I want to ask ourselves to, let's just be honest here on something. Let's agree that energy is boring. We agree, like, who cares about the energy? Like, most people don't really talk about energy in their daily lives. Just imagine my pickup line to my crush is like, "Hi, I'm Oscar. I have a PV production surplus of 50 kilowatts." And my crush may reply, "Sounds cool," but I'm sure in her mind, she would be like, "What's wrong with this person?" Maybe it wouldn't work if it was Laura, my teammate, that won't happen because she is super into energy. But the main point is here, energy is not easy to understand for most people. Do we really want to build our interaction on top of energy like I did before? My suggestion would be no, because again, it's complicated. It's so hard to explain it to most people in general. So this should be the first issue, why people are disconnected to energy, or in this case, electric energy. People just don't get it. Or most people don't get it. There's a missing link between people and concept of energy. So we want to build this bridge that connects people and energy. People, energy. Just to remind you again. We want to make people easily grasp the concept of energy. Let's start with our daily actions. We understand that every action requires energy. On top of that, we're going to have like more electrification in the future. And what we want to do is to shift the focus from energy, these units of kilowatt, kilowatt hour, whatever it is, just forget about that now. And we want to shift it to the actions, our actions. Therefore, we can build this emotional connection through our actions and interactions, not about that electrical energy, the kilowatt, whatever it was before that I mentioned. And the second issue is to retain the user's attention, to keep them engaged. We can easily learn from current big social media such as TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, whatever it is, also like forum like Reddit. What do they really do with their users? They facilitate their users to interact in their platforms. For Instagram won't tell you who you are, but you will define your own contents, your own personality. So you know who you are now in Instagram. Before, even like these Instagram models didn't exist before Instagram. Now they are everywhere. You could see them everywhere. And these platforms don't really produce any content. The contents are in the user's hand. This is what we have learned from them. They let users to create their own contents. Another example is TikTok, easily the most popular app right now. Everything is being trendy there. We have heard probably something like top 10 TikTok challenges. Everyone does that, especially the young people. They are making their own trends. TikTok didn't tell them what to do, but they created themselves. We could also learn from memes, from movies, from movie scenes. The director, the producer want everything that this scene would be like a meme. This scene from Star Trek, they won't ever think about it, this will be a meme. But the audiences created this trend, memes, make it viral. Everyone would understand. Even I haven't watched Star Trek, but I know this guy now. Now I've seen the memes. That's a great example of it. So the users will feed other users with their interaction contents, so they always want to keep updated with how their friends, families, neighbors are doing. The users will want to build interactions with their beloved ones, or soon to be their beloved ones. So in the end, it's not with exclamation mark anymore. It becomes a question mark. Is energy really boring? We have to really think about it again. And I want to introduce you with lit. Lit, as I want to introduce here, lit is not the energy itself, but what you can do with it. So we hope that we could change your mind or here after we introduce lit. And I will pass it over now to Jorge.
Yes. So if you, Oscar, can you pass to the next? Yeah. So what do we want to do with lit? We want people to build social interactions around energy transactions. Yes, you listen good. Social interactions on top of the energy transactions. Lit will allow users to send and receive energy in the form of everyday acts, like having 20 minutes of hot shower, driving your car for 100 kilometers, or baking some cookies in the afternoon. But how our app would enable all this? The answer is Lits. This will be the token that will be exchanged in the app. So if you want to send, for instance, your dad 30 kilometers of EV, you will send them X amount of Lits that he will be able to redeem or exchange later when he charges his car. So if we really think again, like this could be the next step in the current social media. because users could feel closer to each other, directly influencing the life of family, friends, and even your new love. What an awesome way to tell someone that you like him or her would be to send him the energy that she or he needs for a relaxing hot shower. I think I would gain some points with that. But with each interactions, user could add some messages, gifts, maybe some emojis. This will also be published, so your contacts, your network could comment it, like it. But of course, at the beginning, we will have a lack of users. We know that. We want our users to be able to connect with their other social networks to spread the word. So imagine that someone sends you the energy for baking some cookies. You would be able to post this in your Instagram, which your network in Instagram will see, oh wow, my friend just baked some cookies with the energy, the green energy that someone else has sent it. So this could be the way that people will be interested and engaged in energy. We could change the mindset, showing them how cool could be interacting with energy. Also, if we take a look at the image of the right, we think it's important to put faces and locations to the people. As we can see, this is the image of Groningen, where we could see maybe Thomas and some other user having their PVs or their electric vehicles. And this will be an easier way to reach other people, or even just you don't know, but maybe your neighbor that is 20 meters away you has a PV. You could reach him, you could ask him for more information. It could be a good way to spread this new trend of prosumer. So I will pass now to Emilia to explain you our last part.
Yes, awesome. So as we've been saying, energy is not boring, energy is fun. Let me introduce to you Victoria. Victoria has the Lit app, and this is her profile. We can see that she's based in Groningen and that she has solar PV panels on her house, a battery for energy storage, and an electric vehicle with an EV charger installed in her garage. So she has many energy assets, and these assets enable her to be an active member of the Lit app. You can see in her profile that she has sent and received a lot of Lits. So the winter holidays are coming up, and Victoria would normally travel to her parents. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted her travel plans. So instead, Victoria will use the Lit app. She opens the app on her phone and clicks the send button in the bottom menu. It first asks her what she wants to lit. She has many options to choose from. She can choose a pie, a cup of coffee, some minutes of a hot shower, or some miles or kilometers of EV charge. And she can also choose other options, custom created options as well. Now, Victoria knows that her dad loves pumpkin pie, so she selects one pie. And next, it asks her who she wants to send it to. She can choose from people who are around her locally in her town, or she can choose from contacts from her phone or her friends from social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. But Victoria selects her dad. And then the Lit app calculates the amount of Lits equivalent to a pumpkin pie at the electricity market price at that moment in time. Victoria confirms the transaction and she receives a confirmation. It's lit. Victoria just lit a pie to her dad, and she was also able to include a personalized message. Missing you lots, stay safe. It's crazy times, and Victoria was able to send some love to her dad just through the Lit app. With this confirmation, she also had the option to share this on social media, letting her friends know or her family on Facebook and Instagram that she was able to share this pie with her dad. Next, if Victoria goes into the bottom menu and selects the balance, Victoria can keep track of her transactions. She sees her most recent transaction sending the pie to her dad at the top along with her note, and she can see what impact that pie has had on her balance as well as the timestamp that transaction was performed. She can see as well at the top that she currently has a positive balance of 32 lits, and she can send more or request as well from others. So where would this lit app fit into the challenge ecosystem? We really see this app as the top layer of energy interaction. Lit would call upon the AI trading agent that Stream2 has been developing this weekend. However, we would still need to develop certain APIs and protocols to link into the energy trading market and extract the data that this app would need. And I think it's safe to say that this app would require a lot of data, considering the energy transactions that would be going on globally if this app were to be implemented. Again, the lits would function as a medium to translate that ambiguous kilowatt hours or euros into a token that is completely intrinsic to the lit platform. However, this would happen behind the scenes in a layer below our app. Now, the question is, what if you don't have an energy asset? In our example, Victoria had solar PV, she had a battery, she had an EV charger. So we could say she was rather well equipped to handle lit transactions. However, you can still redeem lits for euros or other currencies, and there's an exchange rate that would happen in the platform. You can also buy lits from other users. So for example, if Victoria's friend Anna would like to buy some lits from Victoria, Victoria can easily send it to her, or Anna can request it, as we saw in the balance menu. Now, what kind of an impact would this have? If everyone to buy in, I think it's safe to say it could be revolutionary. The key to our app is translating units that everyone understands. So instead of the kilowatt hours or the sum of money, it's just a cup of coffee or some pumpkin pie. Remember when Oscar was trying to flirt with the girl, telling her he is producing 50 kilowatt hours of electricity from his solar panels? We can make that sexy with lit. It can make it understandable and fun to use for both our generation, students, the young generation, as well as the older generation who will be receiving that pumpkin pie and being able to enjoy some pie from their kid. So what do stakeholders need to do to make it happen? To build the lit solution, we have to do a variety of things, right? We have to secure partnerships with DSOs, and we have to write new policy and regulation and continue to develop these decentralized electricity markets and building aggregators and virtual power plants. Scaling up the necessary technology as well to enable peer-to-peer energy trading to happen on a mass scale is also a fundamental stepping stone in this energy transition. However, I personally feel confident in having seen this weekend just the amount of great ideas going around and the amount of change that can happen, that this transition is definitely possible. So to close out, again, it's not the energy itself, but it's what you can do with it. So let me up.
Perhaps a round of applause for the first team.
I'm lit.
Big thank you to the Decogy team, to Emilia, Jorge, and Oscar, and the rest of the team that has been working on the final solution. While you were presenting, there was actually a lively discussion in the chat box with Irena, Hugo, Nicolo. So I suggest you check that out a bit later. And now we have a little bit of time for questions. If there is any questions from the audience, let's say we'll give it a five minutes for that. Nicolo, it was a lit presentation.
Yeah, I like it. Although I was a bit, let's say, from a social point of view, a bit scared when at the beginning there was this stress on engaging and retaining people close to this platform, to the social network, because I just looked at Social Dilemma on Netflix last week, and then I started to wonder maybe we want to create a new form to get people addicted to a new social platform. And so there was maybe a little dark side into it. But in general, the idea, I think, it's very nice to share, to donate energy to other people, to link to social media. So the interface, I think, has value. Of course, then when you will try, if ever, to implement it in the real world, it will not be easy. Let's say the back office of all these transactions, they pose probably some challenges in terms of data, in terms of also how really to make it incentive compatible for the retailer and the balanced responsible party. But looking just at the interface for the final user, which I think was the goal of this stream in the hackathon, I think it's a cool idea.
Thank you, Nicola, for the feedback. Do we have any questions?
I would have one question.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I also like the interface very much, and I like the idea to bridge people to energy, because I guess it's really our crucial challenge we have. So to make energy more sexy, and because our experience in our bubble, so we are happy to talk about kilowatt hours, but we lose some friends sometimes. So that's the point. But so I like it very much, and you mentioned it. So it's a great interface. What is, if you have one challenge to cope, what is the real, very important next step? Is it the policy framework? Is it to attract the people? Or it's just, what would be the most important challenge as next step?
Yes, to answer you, I would say policy will be a big issue. Of course, I think this is not possible. It's not possible nowadays. Other big goal or thing to tackle will be the engineering part. How to maintain the stable the grid, right? You can people couldn't be yes put energy, take it out. No, someone has to control this and assure that the grid is stable and it doesn't break at some point. So, but at the end, we can think that with some key partnerings, like if you achieve to partner with some, I don't know, as DSO or TSO, this could be really disruptive. I think it's coordinated. The word will be coordination. Like if we achieve, like people can do this, but in a coordinated manner, someone can maintain this, like. Because last semester we were working on blockchain just for this, like to look at coordination on peer-to-peer things. I don't know if blockchain will be the solution or not, but I think also one of the keywords will be coordination.
Thanks.
Thank you, Katarina, for the question, and once again, thank you to the Decargy team. Now we move on to the next team, which is Revolt Team, and Revolt Team already built Revolt, which is an energy platform that gamifies sustainable energy demand and allows users to interact with their local community and invest in renewable energy sources. But let's hear from Quirin what they have been developing for the past few days.
Yeah, thank you very much. I try to scare my screen to share it. Actually, give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, I hope you see my screen.
Not yet.
Not yet. Maybe now.
Yes.
Yeah. Didn't load. Nice. Okay, I tried with this. I think that should work as well. Yeah, looks a bit bumpy, but you will see my screen, and I hope you will see now the logo and the little app in the beginning. Yeah.
We see it.
Okay, perfect. So we're building basically an energy community which allows everyone to produce their own energy supply. That's the core idea. And yeah, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Kieran. I'm the team lead of Team Revolt, and we built this entire weekend, this little mock-up, which I also will present you at the end. But I want to start with a very simple number. Every household, every one of us, emits around 4,000 kilograms of CO2 every year only by our home energy consumption. And to give you some reference, that's about the amount of a road trip half around the planet, and we need around 300 trees to mitigate that amount of carbon dioxide. So with this problem statement, our goal is to help, first of all, every household or every smaller SME to really become sustainable, to create own energy communities, and finally to save money with that. And how we approach that problem in this last 2 days is basically that we first of all allow households, SMEs, so we are particularly looking at Spätis in Berlin, so smaller shops and enterprises, how they can create and engage in local energy communities, how they can buy, exchange, donate and collect renewable energy assets, and how they can actually optimize their demand, of course, with a given supply, and really become the backbone or the core of a decentralized energy system. And the vision with that is to really become one of those access points for the user to this to a resilient and decentralized energy system, and of course allow everyone to exchange and to do all kinds of market transactions which are possible right now, but not for a user's perspective. So now you know also that I'm very good at reading stuff. So how does it work? So what is the solution look like actually? So I will also go with you afterwards in a little demo, but what I want to show you here is very simple, a few core functionalities. So the objective of this gamified app is to grow the little planet. We call this little planet Carby in a remembrance of the crypto kitties which exists, and we want to basically do the opposite, right? We want people, as long as they optimize their demand or choose optimal supply, this little planet, this little Carby will grow. And basically the two patterns for that is, first of all, the flexibility. So does their demand match the current supply in their local grid? And how CO2 friendly are they actually consuming energy? And this will result in a given price, which we have here indicated with 23 cents per kilowatt hour. And this is basically the goal of the entire app, is really to optimize your local demand with in accordance to the given supply. And now the second part of the app is basically the community. Of course, the community is very strong because you as an individual, you will never change the world entirely. So you will always connect with friends, with neighbors, but also, of course, with your very local community, which can be understood today as your balancing pool, but will be in the future your D3A market, for example. And you will connect with this, let's say, default group, which basically defines how which supply is actually or where the supply in your electricity grid comes from, and how you can optimize your demand with that. So so there's this default group, let's call it, is basically the group where you can also buy or interact with a solar panel which is on the roof of your apartment, or a battery which is next to the fridges of the Späti where you live, right? And you can basically become part of those, you can interact and become a member of those assets, or an owner of those assets, and thus can also optimize your demand with regard to those assets, and can really participate and become a member of this local community. But of course, you can also do a variety of other things in the community. So you can donate or co-invest into solar panels, which maybe are not close to you, which maybe are in a very different local market where your kids go to school, or where your friends live, or your family in a different city, right? So you can interact with those as well, and can of course not only like just be a member of this group, but of course co-invest, donate, or collect energy tickets in those areas. So finally, and the last part is basically the shop, where you can do a variety of either investments in local or global assets, but also of course crowdfunding for new capacity, or donating, or sharing capacity. So you can, as I said, with the default communities, you can optimize your supply, but of course you can push as well renewables into, let's say, energy scarce regions. So it doesn't mean that it's only in Berlin. It can be anywhere in the world, actually, where you can invest in solar panels or batteries or heat supply. So basically, the core concept is that you have the main screen with where you can interact with those with the assets within communities, and you can create communities and join communities within the app. Now I want to show you our little dummy, our little mock-up, which we designed in the last, we designed parts of it right already before, but basically we put it all together in this last weekend, also given from all the feedback we got from the Jedis and the other team members as well, of course. So what we see here is the home screen. Now I hope it's stable. What I can do here is, give me 1 second, how do I get back here? So what we see here is the planet, first of all. This would be my home planet right now. So this is my home Carby, which I can optimize. So I have two things. What I can do, I can firstly, of course, go on my home screen. Here I can basically automate or optimize my assets at home. So my appliances, let's say. That can be a washing machine, a dishwasher, whatsoever. So we developed a little game. What is explained here, you can basically choose your device, you can run your device at a specific hour, and you receive coins or rewards for that. What you see here is basically the device which you can choose. You have a carbon meter, which is basically a forecast of the carbon intensity of your local energy grid, and now you can do it actively, so just switch it on at a given time, or you can even automate that, so connect your appliance with an API into the platform. So that's on the demand side, right? On the supply side, you see basically the assets of your little Carby here. So what I own at my Neukölln, where I live, part is basically a solar panel, a battery, and a heating storage. So I'm quite well. I have quite a lot of assets, which I can basically now plan my demand after those assets here in my home chapter. But as I said before, I can not only consume or interact with my local communities, I can of course also interact with other communities. So I maybe just have made an investment with this little healthy, obviously, but that's because I've just only bought a battery and a heating storage somewhere else. Here it's anywhere, a village basically, where I just want to make some cash with that, right? Want to make some investments with that, and maybe donate that Carby later, or send it to a friend, or do whatever I want to do with that. But basically what you see here is that it's also possible to grow them in other areas of the world. Finally, we have here a timeline for your communities, but I think they're not clickable. So second part is, where can I get all those capacities? I can go to the shop and can basically order panels here, which are shown, and these patterns which you see here are always depending in this moment on my local area. So this is Berlin-Neukölln, that's where I live, and of course that's where I optimize my demand. So these panels are basically a forecast, or these bars are basically a forecast of the efficiency of that particular device for my personal energy demand. Now I can order them here, of course, I can choose how many I want, We said prices shouldn't be extremely high. They should not outrage the prices which I'm paying at the moment for my energy. But of course, I see directly that there is a yield, that there is a production of my energy, and I can choose for which Kabi I'm buying them, right? I have them either for my own Kabi or for another Kabi which I'm trying to feed right now. Finally, we of course have the community. What we see here is basically the default community. So this is all the people who are of us. And we of course have here a variety of other people, right? Who are also living here, playing this little game and try to clean out their energy demand. But we don't only have like the default group, we also have, of course, groups where we can pledge or where we can join and become basically members of those communities and exchange energy assets with each other. Exactly. So this is basically the little dummy. You can also, of course, do that yourself. You can check the prototype. I hope you can see the QR code, or I can also share that in a minute into the channel. Exactly, yeah. So let's have a look at the user journey. So how do we actually attach customers and how do we attract customers? That's more important. So I will switch quickly to the Miro board. So the first customer which we saw and we were talking with extensively, so we did over 180 people we asked like over the last time and tried to understand who is actually our customer and who would do such a nerdy thing what we are introducing here. So what we figured is it is not so nerdy as we actually expect it to be. So we had a variety of talks, but actually what we figured is that one of the power users we would have are family POs. So we call them family POs. These are the one who are making the decisions for the family, which contract to sign, which couch, which sofa, which whatever do we invest in our home. And those people are mostly, I mean, there are a few assumptions to that, but we said these are mostly people who have maybe 2 kids, they are part-time working, they're caring a lot about their community. This is one of the target consumers we face, but there's also another consumer which would actually be very powerful to leverage our communities. And these are really small businesses within our street, like the local Späti, the local market where we shop, maybe in the evening, get a glass of, get a bottle of beer or something, right? These little stores which are, so every business for them is a business. And actually they are distributing and they are somehow the connection points within local communities. And they can distribute not only their product, but also they can distribute this idea or they can distribute their energy assets which they're investing in. So think of this little shop who has a lot of fridges standing there, and maybe he's interested not maybe, he is for sure he's interested to reduce his costs for his fridges. So it would be easy for him to install a battery to charge for his battery in times when there's a lot of cheap energy available. Now, maybe that's too expensive for him. Maybe that is something he would like to do, but he doesn't know how to do it and he doesn't know with whom to do it. So this would actually come together where the small business has this demand and the family PO where he or she is always walking in the evening to that shop, and now they can connect together and can grow something bigger and can start to leverage that potential. As I said, we did a variety of user tests, and one of the really interesting thing was what we figured is that people were not so much interested in really buying energy directly from us. That was something where there was a high trust issue for any reason. But what we interestingly figured is that a lot of people were interested actually to invest in renewable energies directly with their money, and of course get a revenue from that, but also to interact with communities. So that was one of the big major findings with that, and this is also the reason how we basically built the product to a certain extent. Now I want to go back to the presentation. So where do we fit into such a scenario? So basically, we see ourselves as a platform which would be somehow an intermediate platform, and let's say the person who's using it becomes somehow an aggregator, because we would collect a variety of databases, data points of this home consumer. We would allow to interact with different markets, but we would also allow a variety of sharing and community building within the app. So I could imagine that a solution like Lit, which was shown before, could be an ideal partner, actually, because we could like basically exchange tokens or energy smart contracts for a certain amount of energy within our app into another scenario. On the other hand, the app could actually create the input variable for a D3A market. Right, so that's where we place where we see this solution to happen. That is basically one of the mitigator of those information and interests in these markets. Yeah, finally, of course, the question: what do we need to make it run? I mean, that's of course always a bold question, but first of all, we need trust and dedication and passion of someone who wants to make it run with us. My strong belief is that is the first handshake, which is the most important. And if this doesn't exist, then anything else would be regardless. Secondly, of course, we thought about what is actually what do we have to do in order to roll it out. So we've built already, as I said, we built already an app which we extensively tested in the last year, and therefore the most of the backend and of course the front end team would be applicable and available, of course. But in order to test and make it happen, we said we need at least 100 households, or including shops, like a balancing pool where we have 100 entities in it. We need existing energy assets, definitely smart meter data, which was discussed yesterday. And for the corporate, of course, a co-development team, which goes hand in hand with our solution. I hope I haven't forgot anything, because we just, of course, did this presentation on a high intensity in the last few hours. But I think more or less that's what I wanted to show you. And of course, I would be super happy to get feedback and answer questions about our solutions. Thank you very much.
Great, Corinne. Round of applause for Revolt Team. Yes. Thanks a lot. You received some feedback already, in the positive feedback in the chat, and Damian also already shared the link to the prototype.
Ah, yeah, perfect.
So we have time for questions. So please feel free to unmute yourself and
Nothing.
No. No question.
It's always a bad sign, unfortunately.
It's not a bad sign. You received
or killed everyone by just the sheer amount of information. Yeah.
I'll ask a question.
Oh, thank you.
But it's going to be a tough one. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So we had a lot of discussion in the chat about how do we integrate these possibilities and thinking out of the box, which was really the goal of this challenge, with the actual layers of the physical world. So have you thought about that?
Yeah. Thanks for that question. Actually, that's something I forgot to mention in the presentation. So we thought a lot about that, how we can integrate that into the scenario. So a lot of features which we actually developed were based on the information we collected from Ed and his team, of course, but also through the hackathon with one of the Team 1 from Challenge 1 teams. So we had a lot of conversations with Rebase team, and what we basically did was to examine how can we, I can make this a bit more visual, how can we define those three patterns, basically. Because that will always be a forecast or it's hard to make that super accurate, but it will be a forecast. So regarding the CO2 friendliness, that's something what we can just deduct from other numbers. So we actually built already a way how we can forecast and measure CO2 intensity in Germany, but also in local, more local than just Germany energy grids. So that wouldn't be such a huge problem. But defining prices or forecasting prices for energy assets or energy products in different markets. So a battery can be on 15 minutes, on seconds, on the flexibility market, or on any day ahead market. That would be challenging, definitely. But as I understood mostly is so there are third parties which allow to integrate their data, but they are also like from this team from Stream2, they would be actually a perfect match for us because they can really help us defining those numbers from within the backend and push that into our front end basically. So I think there would be a great collaboration possible actually, and in order to build that solution.
Great, Corinne. And also this is something that we hope for, to see the collaboration between the teams, both in Stream2, but also reaching out to the other streams. So I think it's really great. And also we have another comment from Nicolo, and I would like to ask Nicolo to just say it out loud.
I like it, Query, in your presentation also because you try to go beyond just the idea of the interface and provide us with some information on what you think is the level of technical readiness, the implementation issues that you might address. You mentioned a kind of course, it's a preliminary survey of possible users, because then in the end we need to get people involved, and we can think we know the people, but in the end maybe they are different from what we think they behave or they are. So it's interesting also as a method to developing the idea, the one that you propose. It's interesting also on this regard.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Of course, go ahead.
By the way, thanks for the great presentation. I was curious, in the shop section of your app, where you have the possibility to, let's say, invest or purchase different kind of assets. Do you plan on partnering or allowing access for device manufacturers to kind of have their products there? Or that's not envisioned to work like that?
No, definitely. So the shop is super open, actually. So there can be several use cases which you can think of. For example, there is no solar panel in your area, right? There is nothing which you can invest in, for example. There are already products in the markets or suppliers, service companies who are basically building for you, and you rent it somehow back, you know? So those partners could be very interesting. So in areas where it's maybe energy scarcity, not big income is available, and so those could leverage that potential. The same is, but it's also for, as you said, like that can be suppliers of, let's say, smart appliances at home. That can be suppliers of any assets, like building solar panels on your roof or whatever, right? I mean, the shop is really something where all kind of solutions are possible, you know? I mean, I don't see right now a limitation to that, why that shouldn't be. But on the other hand, that's also why I thought I don't have to think about that too much, because I just have to look at the products which are given in the market actually, and can support those products and I don't know, make an affiliate system or yeah, something like that. I mean, yeah.
But it would be important, Querying, that you create, let's say, a bouquet, a bunch of interesting suppliers for these parts, or to attract more final user. I mean, it's like the discussion we had yesterday evening with the artists. If you there are the so-called network effects. If you have more users on one side, the interest in the platform from the user on the other side of the platform increase. And maybe you can try to involve also these companies offering pay-as-you-go solutions. At the moment, they are mostly in working in Africa, where they provide you a solar PV unit, and if you prepay the amount, it will give you power. Otherwise, they will block it. So and this will address the challenge of the minimum investment size, probably.
I mean, I've talked with several like institutional suppliers for like let's say project builders for renewable energy parks and like huge assets, and they also have a way to have basically the CSOP is called, like it's customer stock option plans, basically, where you can just invest very small amounts into a huge facility, maybe a windmill on the North Sea or something like that. I mean, these are also options which would be applicable for such a solution.
Thanks, Quirin. Once again, I think the only thing that is missing is a catchphrase for your for your app. And now we're moving to the final competing team, which is Streaming Potential Team. And they're working on finding ways to use renewable energy to stop climate change. And their work mostly revolves around the positive impact consumers and prosumers bring to their communities. So I would like to ask Bart and Edgar and the rest of the team to present.
Yes, so I will start the presentation today. Thanks for the introduction. First of all, I would like to thank Edgar, who brought us all together in the past couple of months to join this challenge. Today, we present to you the result of a rather crazy weekend. We've had moments that we knew for sure that we're on the right track, but we also had moments that we realized that we put hours in a dead end and had to shift to another direction. But most of all, we had a lot of fun together in this pressure cooker, and we're really happy to show the results right now. So let's start with an introduction. We know that this transition to a zero carbon emission electricity system is inevitable, but we don't know the speed. And today we show a concept, a demo, an app, where connecting everyone and everything through emotion is the next step to engage customer. So let's start with the customer. Average Joe. For an average Joe, up to 6% of your monthly expenses, they are utilities and energy. And if we take a look in how we interact with energy, you go to your coffee machine and you plug in your adapter of your laptop, and you just expect it to be there. It's something that is very basic in your Maslow pyramid, because it's something that you use every day and you expect to be there, easy as that. But on the same hand, the products that or the product energy coming into your life is something very functional, and in the more emotional motivation part of the human brain, it doesn't reflect the importance that it has on your life. So there's a very big gap on what electricity, and specifically in your household, what it means to a person and how you feel about it. So this is something that we like to challenge. And for us, it's about design for emotion to increase user engagement. And this is the core of our solution in the problem statement. So I'm an energy engineer. I've studied PV systems. I've learned about flexibility markets. I've built a small scale wind turbine. I love energy. But to put it boldly, energy is boring. So as Streaming Potential, we believe that we should bring positive emotion towards energy. And that's the way to increase the user engagement. So if we take a look at the current energy system, I saw in the chat that our track mayor, Hugo, posted that it was about electricity, a financial layer and a legal layer. For us, we like to see it as a physical layer, a contractual layer, which has the financial and the legal entity. But the third one, and most important one, the emotional layer. So this is how we represent the current system, where the physical layer is the flow of electricity. The contractual layer is your basic relationship with the energy supplier. It's billing and invoicing, but it's not a strong relationship. And the emotional layer is where all the questions marks arrive. So energy companies, utilities, they try to engage with their customer by building apps, data visualization, feedback on behavior. And to be honest, it doesn't really work. For who here is the energy app, an app they use on a weekly basis on their phone? I assume it's no one. So this is the problem that we have defined, and that's how we want to change the way you look to energy. So from energy to emotion. And if you look at UX design of apps, you should stay away from functional and go towards emotional. So about our solution. The physical layer is represented by the grid singularity. We have a contractual layer, which is our company, Amped. So get Amped, authorize us to take care of your boring energy business, and authorize us to take care of your monthly invoices. But quickly, we want to go to the emotional layer. This is the layer where the interaction takes place. And for us, we decided that we should connect your energy household towards a platform where you can connect to artists you like. So first, artists will make the community grow. Prosumers can share their wealth, and you can amplify others by connecting to your energy. So these are the main components. We have found a way to interact also with other parts, other challenges. For example, the self-sovereign identity challenge, where Team Conduction has a platform that we can access for smart meter data, and Team AdaCast is deploying a bulletin board, and we can get the content of the amplified artist on there. But most importantly, I want to hand over to Edgar to give a short demo of our Get Amped. So Edgar, please take over control.
Thank you, Marnix. All right. Okay, welcome. I proudly present you the app Get Amped. With our app, we basically build the relationship between the artist and its creativity, and the other hand, the prosumer. The artist, like Marnix just told in, brings in his fan base, his community, his passion for his creativity. And his content is paid by the value that the prosumer is willing to share. The prosumer, on the other hand, is given the option to say whatever he likes to do with his energy. And we show you in a minute how it works. I will briefly run you through the basic design of the app and touch point on the interest from both the artist and the prosumer. Let's get started. First of all, again, it is a platform to bring the two worlds together. It is all about artist and creativity, which really abstracts you away from the complexity of the energy market. That is the basic concept of getting into the emotion of the energy producer. All right, let's first sign up as an artist. The platform is basically a decentralized platform for any creativity in a community. It allows people for podcasting, people who are excellent in playing the violin, to broadcast their creativity to the community. It is censorship free. It is just the way it should be supposed to be. And it really tickles the use of another way for artists to being paid for their creativity. Here you see just two testimonials of people who really love it. As an artist on the platform, I can create content and share it with my community. On the other hand, I can also see who basically has amplified me and allowed me to explore and to be creative. I can demonstrate you how, but for the simplicity, I'll leave it for you. We will share a link in the app and you can navigate to the app yourself. But for example, I'm the artist and here I see whoever has basically made my creative work possible. And I'm able to interact with these people, to say thanks, to say hi, and to give back to basically the local community. And for the artist, it basically looks really simple. He sees what he has basically achieved from the community, from either a recurring fee or every like for the content that he or she recreates. He gets paid basically by some of the wealth that is shared by the prosumer. That is the top side of our community. And again, it's completely true. We have to bring kind of skill here. But like I said, artists bring their fan base and we can play around this concept. It is really like Patreon, for example, where it allows additional revenue streams. This play has been played before. We can learn from that. Okay, let's look at the other side of the coin. What's up for the prosumer? How will it work for him or her? As a prosumer, you sign up and basically in your feed, you see what's happening within your community. At the top level, you see basically the latest stories of the people in your community, what their creativity is basically shown. In the middle, you see the, let's say, community events. And this is a mix between offline and online events. When we were basically debating the pros and cons of our concept, we really learned that it is really important for a community to connect both the online and the offline world to make it vivid, to make it viral, and to actually make sure that the community gets a social connection between people. Because on the other end, energy itself is boring and it is rather complex. We really want to engage at the emotional level. So by organizing a whiskey tasting or let's say a violin concert, we get those connections happening. But that's on the emotional side, right? That is basically where the fun parts come in. I could imagine you also are interested how it works at the more technical level. Well, let me look how it works for my assets. I jump to that play, and here as a prosumer, I can add any kind of degree of freedom that I have. In the Netherlands, most people have a smart meter. So for me, that's an easy win. I can add that up to the gameplay. But if I have solar panels, I can add it. My electric vehicle, I can add. And okay, maybe also even your battery. But that, let's say, in honesty, that will be future use. But this is basically reflecting the kind of levels that the prosumer can decide to add to the gameplay. One of the things that we really struggled with is to find what's in it for me kind of gameplay for the prosumer. First of all, it is a really complex world. And secondly, what kind of prosumers are really willing to share some of the wealth that is generated by the energy creation with others. And here it's really up to the prosumer to choose what to do. On the left side, we have the value that is basically created by Stream1 and the G3A platform. It really generates value. That's basically a kind of given. But that value can be presented, and then the prosumer can basically decide what kind of that part to donate. And again, here it really comes to the appealing factor of how the prosumer is into the gameplay. Is he up for, let's say, the money, or is he willing to share? And this is exactly the kind of gamification that is really important by building and designing communities, because you have to create a connection between the heart, the passion, and the ratio, the brains, where it really comes into money. Okay, let's go back to the gameplay. Right, I'm a prosumer. Here I see my latest stories of artists that I've basically, I'm backing. I can distribute likes. I can jump to their stories. And here I can decide, well, this is a nice guy, I would like to back him, and I start to amplify him. How will it work? I can consume his content, I can add comments, and here we have the interaction going between the prosumer and the artist on the other hand. All right, this is basically how it looks. What it all comes down to is that we give a different dimension to, let's say, your invoice, your energy invoice. And I will demonstrate here. Here is basically how your monthly payment to your energy provider will look like. At the top bar, you see basically the passion and the creativity that you created by energy. This is what you paid to your artist. We can even drill down, and here you see basically the transactions you enabled. Here you see the energy bill, and this really comes down to the magic that happens at the platform of Grid Singularity, where the wealth is created by basically your energy assets. This is how it all looks like, and this is what we think is a kind of game changer in connecting both the creative and passionate of the prosumer with the wealth and the passion that he has for his energy household. Thank you. All right, let's open up for questions.
First, let's get amped and give a round of applause. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, now we have time for questions. We had some also discussion and comments in the chat box. Yeah, but the team already answered it.
Yeah, maybe again, this is Guy from E.ON. So maybe I don't fully got it because I was wondering if I could also use, instead of using the donation part, if I could really also buy stuff with the savings I have made. Maybe you can elaborate on this part again a little bit.
And with buying, you mean what kind of buying do you mean exactly?
So to buy songs, to buy content from artists.
Yeah, that's exactly what I tried to demonstrate, and maybe that didn't completely come across. But by the value that you create with your energy assets, that adds up to an amount, and with that amount, you buy, you basically stream your virtual money to the podcast or to the violin concert of the artist on your platform.
So it's essentially, if I understand it right, Edgar, it's essentially get amplified means, it's transactional value against artistic content.
Yeah, exactly. It is a peer-to-peer exchange between the value that you generate on your energy assets with on the other side, the artistic value. So that could be a concert, that could be a ticket for a local gallery, whatever you like.
Okay, thank you. Understood. So using energy for electronic music, for example.
Could you also support, for example, content creators overall, like a writer, YouTuber, Instagrammer, someone would that be possible?
Yes, this is completely agnostic. And again, the concept of it all is, of course, at the one end, create a volume at the content side. And on the other hand, the money or the value is generated down the rabbit hole of the complexity of the D3A platform. And we have some additional thinking about basically how you as a energy consumer can basically exchange your value to either on a peer-to-peer market for intangible goods or for tangible goods or whatever. That is, we have a strong concept about that. We have been challenged, and we think it's solid. But yeah, it works. And maybe also to add, I think in the Netherlands, with a corporation, we more or less have this kind of community thinking ongoing. Of course, there is quite some complexity to be solved from regulation point of view, but I'm quite convinced that we can get this started quite quickly. if we just take some assumption in very down the mechanics at the rabbit hole. But when it really comes down to the game design and how we can multiply this to any community, I think it is not that difficult to get it started, to be honest.
So I have a question, if it's possible.
Yes, please go ahead.
There are some initiatives to create, like let's say, a peer-to-peer Facebook and so on. So without the advertising model underneath, without the data grabbing underneath, could this different business model somehow supplant the data grabbing in a way? So make a a social network without
paying with your privacy, basically.
Yeah, without paying for your privacy.
Yeah. A sample like this is Steemit. In the blockchain world, we have equivalent in the Netherlands ongoing, which is a privacy-friendly framework. But I think it is what the game design we just made, and with this took us some pivoting over the, let's say, last 48 hours, like Marnik said. It really abstracts all the complexity away, because at the end you have content that you could, well, of course, in this case, as an artist, you identify yourself. So you're known, you have a fan base and a community. So that is not anonymous. But the data grabbing, etc., that can be stopped, because as YouTuber or any other artist, you jump on our platform and to get paid a fair price. What you have now in the PR and content industry is a big problem, is that people have a kind of paywall or anything else where content is supposed to be free. And that is a very difficult challenge for content creators to get paid for that. But if we can get an appealing use case for them to jump on our platform, and even let's be realistic, it is micro payments, so the fees will not be high, but that is basically the multiplier and the amplifying effect that is basically in the name of the app. There, the gameplay comes in. So if an artist that wants to be creative and that wants to create content, but he wants to have a fair price for it, jumps onto this platform. That's the one side of the business model, and the prosumer can give away a bit of his wealth without any pain, basically.
Great, thank you, Edgar, and thanks to Marnix and Bart and the rest of the Streaming Potential team. Nicola, would you like to say something?
Yeah, maybe the only thing, following also the question of Olfier, I suppose, in your presentation or in your thinking, you may develop a bit more how the value is originally created. I mean, before the sharing from the prosumer to the artist, you assume the creation of this value by using the assets or the demand response by the prosumer. But this comes before, because I assume the application is run by, as maybe I mentioned yesterday, a retailer or an aggregator, and by managing the assets of the prosumer or getting energy from the asset of the prosumer, it can, let's say, generate revenues, and then simply the revenues created by the assets of the prosumers and monetized by the manager of the platforms, then are transferred to the artist. So this is probably something that in developing your idea maybe could be highlighted more. Maybe you can devote a bit more to this.
Yeah, thank you, Nicola, for asking. But basically, this is the kind of concept that we've pivoted on, let's say, in the last hours. Again, from simplicity and to make this platform viral and let it fly, we really would like to abstract it away, because for most people it is getting too complicated. But basically, what I showed you with the slider in the app, it's in our principle, we give that control to the prosumer. And again, if you have solar power on your rooftop, you could decide what kind of risk you want to take by the production of the solar power, or you want to be less risk avoidance. And the whole appeal in this proposition, and let's keep it to that. And we can jump on a separate channel to really go down to the tokenomics. It really is that there is another layer to energy, right? We want to get into that hard. And again, like Hugo not everyone is into this for complete monetization. So people are willing to share. People are willing to support or donate, and that is the kind of appealing factor that you need to create with the content and with the value on the other side. And like I said, when we work through this kind of game design, we really learned from research that has been done on this topic, that you then need to facilitate offline and online events where people interact, become known to each other, and then you have it basically solid, and the knots basically connect together. That's basically in essence, the concept of what we try to demonstrate here.
Thank you, Edgar. And now I have two asks. First of all is if you can turn on your cameras so that we can make one picture of the Stream2 session. And while you do that, I would just like to remind the Stream2 teams to please upload the 3 slides to the Odyssey platform before 3. So it needs to be by 2:59 in order to be taken into account for the central prize. So please do that. And now, before we go on to the final presentation, let's just have one picture. Let's see, will it work? I still miss Emilia, Jorge, Oscar. Okay. Let's do another one. All right. Thanks a lot. And now we will hear from the only non-competing team. It's the Grid Singularity team, which is consisted of super creative people, Florian, Tefa, and Eric. So let's hear your solution.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to ask Eric if he can share the screen so we can get going. Considering that we are not competing, we are going to keep our presentation quite compact, not take up too much time, and present you in 4 slides exactly what we've been working on over the past couple of days. So our idea is called Saft, for those who do not speak German, is juice for orange juice, for the word for. What we want to achieve is allow people to have this sort of relationship with energy that currently they don't have. So if we can go to the next screen, Eric. I think that the premise that we built everything on is that it's true that energy is boring, but it's worse. You know, people don't even care about energy, at least not in a positive way. The only time they do care about energy is when, for example, your battery is at 5% or your Tesla only has 15 kilometers left or there's a blackout. So, you know, how do we convert that into something that has a more positive connotation? So the insight really is that people might not care about energy, but people care about other people. People care about their neighborhood. People care about doing good. So the idea behind Soft really is to connect people to the things they care about and conduit. It's built around energy that you can supply by basically allocating part of the budget to trading energy. And it's completely your choice. You can go local, you can go green, you can support a charity, or you can trade with friends. Next slide, please. the question, what was the important part that we choose to elaborate on? And it's the bit that we sort of focused on in the beginning. It's to start low. We thought a lot about, talk a lot of, all of these things, but we wanted to get using the important existing social neighborhood ties. So, it is your local convenience store. It's your greengrocer. It's the people that are the backbone of your community, not just because they supply you, but because they find new ways to supply you with services, whether that's a local ATM or a way to sort of, get a coffee or, whatever it is. I feel that, could start that local energy by being the first battery or offering energy to their customers. How's it all going to work? Well, we've created a prototype, which Eric's going to take you through now.
Alrighty, so hello everyone. For who doesn't know me, I'm Eric. I'm part of GSY, and I'm here presenting you a quick little prototype of how we imagine how people will get into our app and how we will retain people and how will be that interaction, that free space where we can have people not only trading energy, but experiences, interacting and connecting through with each other through various means. So we imagine that people might get into our app through, several streams, but one of the streams that I think people don't think about is how you get to know things locally. You get to know a new chocolate on your spaghetti, or you get to know a new app from your friend, or so we were really considering how, these subcultures are getting to the spotlight, So why not starting from where you least expect, from, for example, your local spaghetti that is trading energy with you, and so on, and you can just scan the QR code and start trading with him. So let's say you get into the app and you create your profile. You can connect your social media. The whole idea is that we are like a little not parasite, but it's like we get into other social medias and get other streams for getting people to us. Through people connecting, their contacts, their Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. And then we ask them, where would you prefer to get your energy from? I would like more to be more eco, or to be more local, or just from friends or family. And based on that, we build your profile. And we show you some energy clubs you might want to be part of. So one of the main things of us is like, instead of calling a community, we call energy clubs, and you can be part of multiple energy clubs, right? And you can see, what is the energy flow of this energy club. So they consume more eco. Oh, this is interesting to me. I want to know more about these guys. So I look into this energy club or community and see their energy spectrum and where they get energy from mostly. So, this is cool. I think, I think I will get, we can even introduce prices and other aspects of it that will help you to decide to be part of a club or not. So you join the club and you immediately start trading with them. And inside this club, you will have all sorts of interactions. You can, create events where people donate for you to make a party at your house, donate Zafts. For you to make a party, or you can commission help, or you can sell something for Zaft inside the platform. And for example, even a club can have a rule where someone wins some electricity just by joining the club, right? So after I join the clubs and I start consuming from different clubs, the app will build my own energy spectrum, so I can see where I start, consuming from. And this can transit through time, because I will be part of different clubs. Can be more local, can be more global, doesn't matter. But the funny thing is that this will change over time based on what and who you choose to consume from. And you can even control how much you want to trade with your different clubs. And then, okay, and how does this get out of our own environment? You know, how do we get people inside the app through different streams also, so people could share their Zaft experiences into other apps, for example. You know, and you can connect your other social media like TikTok, Instagram. We can have Instagram filters. You can commission something on Instagram for someone to help you, and then you pay them with Zafts or something like that. You know. Or you can even help and support a cause, for example, on Instagram. And you ask people to keep the lights on of your HQ, of your social movement. You know, so these are all the things that we imagine how the app will work. And basically, we want to create a free space and a way that every club can organize themselves organically, the way that they see fit. So they can trade, they can donate, they can sell things, they can buy things, they can sell services, ask for help or anything like that. Yeah, I think this last part I will pass on to Tefa. If she got a connection, she had a problem with her connection, I think.
Hello, now it's working. Hopefully it won't crash again. So the last thing to add here is that we believe that if we start from a local level, finding different ways to reasons to connect to other communities and creating these clubs, we believe that if we start from a small level, then this will scale up somehow. And of course, this is a lot related to emotional reasons, charity, and reasons that for humans are a reason enough to create a club and start interacting. And regardless if you own a battery or a PV or a Tesla, you can start using and interacting with others. And of course, we need to establish this Zaft token. That's how we call it. And yeah, let the Zaft flow.
And that's it.
All right.
I think it's done.
Thanks a lot to all three of you. There is a question from Irena in the chat box. Just my computer stopped. Okay. Will it be possible to change the initial choices for the levels of local, eco, friends, family later on in the app?
Yeah, that's the goal. Based on the idea is that based on the energy clubs that you go and start participate, your profile starts to change, and you have the whole freedom to now everybody has their faces and like different things. So now I'm more on personal preferences. I'm just part of my climbing club, my book club, and whatever. And then I look at my profile and okay, I should go a little bit more eco, and then I participate in other clubs and start trading with other clubs. So that's the whole idea. You have the full choice of choosing your clubs, your energy clubs.
All right. Thanks a lot. Do we have any other question?
Just a recommendation. I think we did it yesterday already, but I really love the name, and you already have a theme song there, right? I mean, this is only for the German-speaking people now. It's just a few seconds. That's an old song, a very old song that's talking about giving juice. I give you my juice, you give me your juice. You know, that's...
All right. Thanks a lot. As I've already posted in the chat.
It's not dirty. It's not dirty at all. It's a song about energy.
Okay, please turn your cameras on for for the take 2 of the picture of the Stream2 session. I see still some shy faces. We need smiles. All right, ready? Let's go. Awesome, thanks a lot. And now, before we wrap up, I would give the floor to our CEO, Revolt Hesse, to just say a few final words.
Yeah, I'd briefly like to thank the teams. It was like completely on spot. You know, we got Lit, we got Revolt, we got Get Amped, and we got Sup. You know, we definitely got 4 names out there already that I haven't seen in any type of apps in you know, related to energy. So I think, you know, so I see a lot of potential in all of that, and you know, we definitely want to kind of you know, create a market design that is enabling all of that. Because to be honest, looking at some of them, I see really a lot of potential where, you know, on the artist side, I would use it, you know, and I would also send some emojis back and forth, which are, you know, and on the Revolt side, you know, you collect the Carbies, and so, you know, it's interesting that in each of the things, yeah, each of the apps, I could see a little factor where I was triggered already, you know. So it's really, really interesting. So you know, to all of the teams, you know, task fulfilled, definitely on spot. It will be pretty tough for us to decide now, you know, the winning team, to be honest. And also mega kudos to our internal team, you know, doing this in your weekend, you know, just because what our internal team did with Tifa, Eric, and Florian is, you know, we wanted to inspire, you know. So therefore, we wouldn't compete, but you know, we just open all of that, all the ideas that we have there, and yeah, thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, Ed. Any final thoughts, wishes for the teams?
Good luck. Really hard job for the jury.
Yeah, break the legs. I think the old way in English, in Italy we say in the mouth of the wolf, but probably doesn't.